What's up, guys? The Pittsburgh Steelers are at a crossroads. They missed the postseason for the first time in 5 years due to a miserable second half collapse and a locker room with more drama than the Kardashian family. Okay, not that much drama, but you get the point. Pro Bowl wide receiver Antonio Brown skipped the team's final game because of an argument with Ben Roethlisberger. And this is nothing new for number 84. He's gotten in trouble numerous times for silly antics and behavior. Even though Brown caught 104 passes for 1,297 yards and 15 touchdowns in 2018, he just didn't seem to have his head in the game. Cue the High School Musical reference. As if it wasn't enough to deal with Le'Veon Bell and his year-long absence, Pittsburgh also had to attend to Brown's mind games. It's no wonder this Steelers team went from Super Bowl contender to no postseason altogether. Perhaps it's time to move on. Keep in mind the Steelers had enough of Santonio Holmes' behavior dealing the Super Bowl 43 MVP to the New York Jets in the 2010 offseason. You can bet that at least 1/3 of NFL teams would love to have AB on their roster. Sure, he might be a problem in the locker room, and he clearly puts himself before the team on some occasions, but this guy is a complete game changer and he'd be widely coveted in a trade. So without further ado, I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present 10 teams that should trade for Antonio Brown. Make sure to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications. We post videos every single day. Every day's new videos, so you should definitely subscribe. It's a really good idea. Do it right now. Click the button. Number 10, Denver Broncos. The Broncos have a pair of young talents to build around on offense in wide receiver Courtland Sutton and running back Phillip Lindsay. Veteran Emmanuel Sanders remains a big-time playmaker as well. Why not reunite him and Antonio Brown together? Sanders and Brown led Pittsburgh to a Super Bowl 45 appearance where they fell to the Green Bay Packers. Imagine having this duo reunited, plus Sutton as a third pass-catching option. John Elway has too much talent on both sides of the ball to completely rebuild. He should trade for Brown and add a reliable veteran quarterback to put all the pieces together right now. Denver has the cap space to take on Brown too. Defenses would have a nightmare matching up against the three-headed monster at wide receiver. Plus, you'd think Sanders would be able to keep Brown calm and cool-headed. Number 9, New England Patriots. Bill Belichick does not have a problem trading for wide receivers that have problematic behavior and a troubled history. Randy Moss, Josh Gordon, and Chad Ochocinco come to mind, among many others. Of course, the odds of Pittsburgh trading their star player to their biggest conference rival are very, very small. But what if Belichick goes all in and offers up something crazy for AB? Pittsburgh might not be able to refuse if it's too good an offer. Perhaps a first and mid-round draft pick? Belichick will want to maximize his team's opportunity to win some more Super Bowls. Adding Brown to that offense would change the landscape of the AFC completely. If Pittsburgh is open for business, the Patriots should be going all in for the star wideout. Number 8, Houston Texans. Again, the Steelers probably wouldn't trade Brown to a rival competitor in the AFC, but from a Houston Texans standpoint, acquiring Antonio Brown makes sense in every aspect. For one, they already have a top 5 wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. Together, he and Deshaun Watson have picked defenses apart, and this is without a reliable number 2 wideout to complement Hopkins. Will Fuller hasn't come along as hoped, and Demaryius Thomas wasn't around long enough to make a major impact. But imagine if Houston got Brown to pair with Hopkins. That would give them 2 of the league's most dynamic offensive playmakers of the last 10 years. The Texans are already a contender with Watson, Hopkins, and a ferocious defense. Adding Brown would give them the best wide receiver duo of the past 20 years. The Texans really should consider going for it, especially before Watson signs the extension that will take up a huge chunk of their cap space down the road. Watson is already one of the game's top all-around quarterbacks. Give him that extra wideout, and the Texans could be the team to beat in the AFC for many years to come. Number 7, Detroit Lions. The Detroit offense was downright disappointing in 2018, and the franchise will go nowhere if Matthew Stafford doesn't get more playmakers. 2017 third-round pick Kenny Golladay emerged as a pleasant surprise, but after trading Golden Tate to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Lions are without a true number 1 wideout. Matt Patricia might feel the pressure to be aggressive in this offseason, given his dismal first year as head coach. He should get the front office to try and make a splash for Brown, who would fit perfectly in that pass-happy offense. Stafford is one of the game's top passers when he has good weapons around him. The Lions didn't have that dynamic playmaker in 2018. Getting Brown changes everything. Hey, they nearly made a trade for Rob Gronkowski before the season started. Why not take care of unfinished business and trade for another Pro Bowler in Brown? The Detroit offense would suddenly look a lot better with AB joining Golladay. Stafford has missed Calvin Johnson since the latter's shocking retirement a few years ago. Brown could finally fill the void that was left by Megatron. Number 6, Tennessee Titans. The Titans would have likely been a playoff team in 2018 if Marcus Mariota was able to stay healthy. He didn't, and they missed out on the postseason by a hair. Mariota and the Tennessee offense played better than expected, even though they still lack a dynamic, game-changing wideout. Corey Davis took some leaps in 2018, but it remains to be seen if he can be a Pro Bowl caliber wideout. The Titans have so much young talent on both sides of the ball, so GM John Robinson really is in prime position to go all in by surrendering some draft picks for a veteran star like Brown. Tennessee gashed defenses with its rush-first offense. Imagine if they acquired Brown to enhance the passing game. That would help them compete with the Colts and Houston Texans for the AFC South supremacy in the immediate future. And for once, Mariota will have a true number one wide receiver to throw the ball to. It'd be amazing for him. Teams would simply have nightmares trying to game plan around Mariota, Brown, Davis, and Derrick Henry. Number 5, New York Giants. The first concern would be if Brown and Odell Beckham Jr. would be able to peacefully coexist. But if the Giants won a lot of games, Brown and Beckham would certainly play nice. The Giants need to figure out their long-term quarterback situation, but with Beckham and running back sensation Saquon Barkley in the fold, New York has a great young core to build around. New York doesn't seem intent on rebuilding, so they may as well make a play for Brown in order to gain ground in a suddenly brutal NFC East division. You'd have 2 of the game's top 3 wide receivers plus the NFL's next great running back. That could put the Giants offense on another level. But again, would the front office take the risk of potentially having 2 hothead receivers like Beckham and Brown? We say it's worth the risk. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Number 4, Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton and the Panthers haven't been the same since his 2015 MVP season, where they reached Super Bowl 50 before losing to the Denver Broncos. Really hit Cam's ego. The reason for the Panthers' recent struggles? Newton hasn't had a reliable pass catcher outside of tight end Greg Olsen. DJ Moore showed promise in his rookie season, but the Panthers have to bring in a guy like Brown to help this passing game regain its old form. Running back Christian McCaffrey is going to be a stud for years to come, but with Olsen almost on his last legs, Carolina has to supply Newton with more help in the passing game. Throw Newton's great arm in with a guy who can stretch the field, and there's a good reason to believe Brown would shine in Carolina. They need to make this move in order to catch up to the New Orleans Saints in the NFC South. Otherwise, Newton's prime years will continue to be wasted. If the front office wants to be aggressive and fight for a Super Bowl in 2019, Brown is their guy to add. Number 3, Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are certainly going to find a new starting quarterback in 2018, but that man will not succeed if Jacksonville does not upgrade on offense. They lack big-time wideouts, and running back Leonard Fournette is never a sure thing to stay healthy. Jacksonville has too much talent on defense to be bad again in 2019, but they won't go back to the playoffs if the offense doesn't see major upgrades. Their new quarterback needs Antonio Brown. The Steelers-Jaguars rivalry probably lost its steam a bit in 2018, so don't think that Pittsburgh will refuse to do business entirely. Imagine if Jacksonville were to get someone like Nick Foles or Joe Flacco, then supply them with Antonio Brown. There, now Jacksonville is back to being a championship caliber unit. It's so simple. Plus, wouldn't it be fun to see him and Jalen Ramsey on the same team? I think it would be. Number 2, Green Bay Packers. Rebuilding isn't an option for the Packers while Aaron Rodgers remains in his prime. The Jimmy Graham signing failed, and there aren't any reliable pass catchers outside Devontae Adams on their roster. The Packers have to change that. So why not go for it and trade for arguably the game's best wide receiver? Brown and Aaron Rodgers together would completely shift the power in the AFC North and perhaps the NFL entirely. The Packers don't want the Chicago Bears to become the kings of the NFC North, and they don't want to stay behind the Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay has to catch up quickly, and making a play for Brown might be the move to do just that. Rodgers, Brown, and Adams together. Yeah, number 12 would probably have an MVP-like season and guide Green Bay back into the title contention. Number 1, San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo, Richard Sherman, and George Kittle had some fun trying to recruit Brown to the 49ers on Twitter. Isn't the future so cool? And did we mention Brown started to follow the 49ers on Instagram shortly after this Twitter fun? You know, the 49ers do have every incentive to trade for Brown. If Garoppolo is healthy in 2019, the team will emerge as a playoff contender and potentially even a Super Bowl contender if all goes well. The rushing game has so much promise with Matt Breida and Jerick McKinnon, and Kittle could be the next great tight end after setting the single-season record for yards at the position. The 49ers are that up-and-coming team that can afford to go all in. Imagine having Brown on this offense that already figures to be a juggernaut in 2019. It would be next-level stuff. Offensive guru head coach Kyle Shanahan would do so many great things with Brown in his offense. The 49ers make the most sense for Brown. He seemingly wants to go there too, so there's no better fit for him than San Fran. If Antonio Brown gets traded, where do you think he will land? Join us in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and Total Pro Sports on social media. We post great content all the time. At least go check out our page and be like, oh wow, that's a cool Instagram. Oh, I like that tweet. And if you like it, follow us. And if you don't follow us. Either way, we appreciate you. You're a great person. We also appreciate likes, so if you like this video, like it down below. It takes one click, right down there, please. If this is your first time around TPS, make sure to subscribe because we post videos every single day. Every day's new videos, so you should definitely subscribe. Of course, thanks so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo, and I'll see you next time.
My knee.